Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and this is the Not So Serious Keto video podcast. Now, I had mentioned a few weeks ago that after 2+ years of saying no to potential sponsors for this show, I finally found one that met my criteria. That being, it needs to be a product that I like, that I use, that I would purchase, and that has a fit for this channel. And that product is porkrinds.com. I've mentioned in the past that Serious Keto is my full-time job, and getting some sort of sponsorship was probably going to be key to keeping this channel around. So I'm pretty excited. We're trying this out for 3 months, just one video per month. It'll be the podcast where I'll do a brief promo for porkrinds.com, starting with this one, Get My Radio Voice Ready. This video podcast is brought to you by porkrinds.com. You may have seen some of the review videos that we've done, both for the Southern Recipe original flavors of pork rinds as well as their small batch pork rinds. I love these products. They are light, almost fluffy, with a wonderful crunch. They are just my favorite pork rinds. And recently they announced a brand new flavor of small batch, the hot honey flavor.
Hot honey!
Sweet and spicy.
Wow.
A little bit spicy, but it's okay.
Besides the Southern Recipe products, porkrinds.com also has products from Lee's and Pepe's. And if you like your keto clean and are concerned about what sort of fat is used to fry up the pork rinds, there's a link right over here so you can sort out everything and only see those products that are cooked in lard. Now, as for the hot honey flavor, I'm going to include a link to that down below in the description. It does contain a little bit of sugar and a little bit of honey. I think less than 1 gram per serving. I ate a half bag of them, and my continuous glucose monitor did not measure anything resembling a spike. So I feel pretty good about it. Yeah, it's a little bit dirty keto, but a nice treat. So head on over to porkrinds.com, try some of my favorite products, and tell them Steve sent you. I don't think there's an opportunity to tell them that Steve sent you. Just felt like the right thing to say. So there you go. That was my first promo. Hopefully it didn't feel too intrusive. Now let's get on to the podcast in general. Starting with why the podcast is on a Tuesday this week instead of my usual Monday. That is because I typically record the podcast on the weekends, and this weekend we were off in sort of northwesterny Wisconsin, Amish country. I don't know the exact name of the town we were in. Everything seems, I don't know if it's unincorporated. Is that the name for it? But we stayed at a bed and breakfast up in northern western Wisconsin to celebrate both our 27th anniversary and my wife's 56th birthday. This is the first time I've ever stayed at a bed and breakfast. And coincidentally, Terry and I were their final customers. They are moving, they've got a winery as well that they're moving to La Crosse, Wisconsin. So they plan on selling all of their property, including the bed and breakfast. Now, I said that this is the first time I'd ever been at a bed and breakfast. I'd be curious to know what some of your experiences are with it. To me, I feel a little bit weird whenever I'm staying at somebody's house, even if it's somebody I know. I want to make sure that I'm a really good guest and really polite and appreciative and all of that. So then to take that one step further and be someone I don't know, and I'm staying in their house and they're making me food, it just, I don't exactly know how to behave. Now, to make things a little bit more awkward, when the wife would make us breakfast, and it was just me and Terry, we were the only people there, she brought out the breakfast, and maybe we should have been a little bit more proactive and let her know that I'm not going to be into a whole lot of carbs. Because on the first day, she brings out the plates and she introduces the meal kind of the same way that when you watch a cooking show and people are producing something, they give this sort of elaborate 3-minute description of what they made and how they made it and all that. She did that. And I'm used to, once a plate is down in front of me, I'm digging in. I do not like cold food. I don't want to eat cold eggs. But I'm just sitting there listening to her do her spiel. And then she gets done and I thought, okay, cool. Now we can just have some breakfast. But she then proceeded to just stand there about 4 feet away from us and watch us eat and talk at us the whole time. It was not a conversation. It was pretty much just her talking. And I'm, kind of politely listening, but at the same time, I'm thinking, all right, what do I do here? I've got this quiche with a thin pie crust on it, can probably squeeze that into my macros. But then she had these pears. I always say peaches. Pears that were poached in red wine sauce, and then banana bread. This is more carbs on my plate than probably I eat in a week. And I made the executive decision, I'll go off plan this weekend. I'll throw in the towel. We're gonna have some carbs this weekend. I'll get back on the wagon on Monday. And you know what? I'm gonna own that. That's on me. Sometimes I'm less than perfect when it comes to keto. The issue is that we had just gotten back from our Hawaii trip where I went off plan, probably more than expected. And then by the time we got back, the weather started taking a shift and it started getting colder. So I quit going out for, my morning runs. I was running 3-4 miles, and then I would walk another mile or two, pretty much, 5 days a week. And that kind of stopped. And then I had all of these carby days, both in Hawaii and then in northwestern Wisconsin. I've probably had more off-plan days in the last 2 months than I have in the last 4.5 years. And as a result, I'm up about 10 pounds, and I'm not happy about that. And I bring that up because that sort of segues to my next mini topic, which is I am now, as of today, 5 months away from my 56th birthday. And my plan is to be in the best physical shape of my life by the time I hit 56. And the reason I'm sharing that with all of you is to create a degree of accountability for myself. I did this back when I quit biting my fingernails. So for the first 50 some years of my life, probably about 52, 53 years of my life, I bit my fingernails. And I'd gotten some comments in some of my videos where people were, you see my hands when I'm cooking, and people said, it would look a lot better if you had some nails. So I decided I'm going to stop biting my nails, and I made the announcement, and I created that accountability. When you make a confession like that to 20,000 people or not confession necessarily, but proclamation that you're going to quit biting your nails, and you're going to you'll see my nails. So it's going to be obvious to you whether or not I'm still biting my nails or not. And for the most part, I've quit. I do occasionally, when they get a little bit long and they catch on something, they tear a little bit, and I'm not nearby an emery board, yeah, I may bite them. But for the most part, the nails are looking quite a bit better, and I plan on looking quite a bit better by March 17th of next year. Now, I will be documenting this so that when the time comes and I release that video, I can share with you some of what I did in terms of exercise, nutrition, supplements, etc., in case any of you want to follow my lead. One of the topics that I've covered in the last few weeks, and I'm only going to talk about it briefly here, is YouTube and censorship. Last week I talked about how you, as my viewers, are able to say certain things in the comments that maybe I can't or shouldn't say in the videos, which is why sometimes I will sort of dance around the periphery of a topic and then let you leave comments. And sometimes comments get deleted. Sometimes I think people delete their own comments. But sometimes I think YouTube, or the AI behind YouTube, will also flag comments and delete them. Now, I don't know what triggers this, because I've seen no consistency in it. I've seen some people say Rumble, and that gets it deleted. I've seen some people say Rumble, and it doesn't get deleted. So there doesn't seem to be a lot of consistency. However, I did have one viewer direct message me last week saying he had had a comment deleted, and then the next day got an email from YouTube apologizing, saying that they had made some tweaks to their software that monitors comments and looks for things that deserve to be flagged and or deleted, and it got overly aggressive. I have no inside information into that. All I know is that I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing, which is I will talk about what I want to talk about, but I'll make sure that I talk about it in terms of it being an opinion. This is my opinion. I'm not stating necessarily something as a medical fact. And to that end, one of the things that's going to be sort of a recurring topic on this podcast is me sharing my opinions of myths or misconceptions or things that I feel are downright lies about keto or about nutrition. Some of these may be triggered by other videos that I see. It may be triggered by comments that I get. And in this case, it's a comment that I got this past week. It was on one of my bread videos, bread review videos. I don't know if it was the base culture. It could have been way back from the Aldi bread that I did. But the person said, no one who's physically active should do keto. And I disagree. Now, probably 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I did Atkins. And at the time, I felt weak. I was doing it purely to lose weight, and I was probably really, really aggressive about it. I might have even been having a weight loss competition with a coworker. So I may not have been getting enough calories just in general, or it may have been that I was nowhere near fat adapted at the time. But I do recall we had a push mower. It was not self-propelled. And it takes about an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half to mow my lawn. And I was exhausted. I mean, it felt like I was going uphill no matter what direction I was facing. And I was gassed. My legs hurt, my muscles there was nothing. I was like just a wet noodle. But I think it could have been that I wasn't taking in enough calories, and it could have been that I just wasn't fat adapted yet. Because here we are now, I'm 55 years old. This summer I was out, as I mentioned earlier, running in the morning. I was doing 3-4 miles of running. I'm lifting heavy, and I'm not having any problems. I'm gaining muscle mass. I'm getting bigger in the places where I want to be, and it's this argument. Well, let me back up for just a second. I had another comment also last week from some guy, in his picture, his little avatar picture, whatever it's called, profile picture. He looked sort of like a musclehead, gym rat sort. And he's like, bruh, you need carbs. Keto is stupid. Carbs are the building block of muscle. I don't know if that's what his voice sounds like, but that's the way I read it. No, I don't think carbs are the building block of muscle. Pretty sure that's protein. But I've also discovered that I don't need a bunch of carbs to work out. I don't need a bunch of carbs to go running. In fact, I know that one of my viewers has told me that he runs 100 miles per week. And he's keto. So clearly, the carbs are not necessary to be physically active. Now, I know that there's carb cycling and there's cyclical ketogenic diets and things like that people feel that those things are necessary for strenuous workouts. I have not found that to be the case for me. I'd be curious to know from some of you who are more physically active what you think about this argument, that you got to have carbs in order to work out, or that keto is somehow not for physically active people. I'd mentioned Rumble before, and some people felt that I was moving to Rumble. I am not moving to Rumble. That is just going to be an additional repository for my content. I still consider YouTube my main place. It's my main money maker. I mean, I've only made in the past week $1.48 over on Rumble. Cha-ching. So YouTube is where my bread is buttered. But I will be in both places. I think it's a logical thing to do for the channel. However, I just want you to know that if you do subscribe over on that other platform, it's going to take a while for me to get all my video content up there. I'm working my way through cooking. I think I mentioned this last week, but with over 200 cooking videos, I'm trying to upload between 6 and 10 a day over there. And I will probably start releasing my new cooking videos concurrently on both. Once I get all the cooking videos up, I'm not sure if I'll do product reviews next or if I'll do the entire podcast series, but we're up to 155 on that. Who knows what number I'll be at by the time all the cooking videos are up. But I would just say, if you do subscribe over there, be patient. Be patient with me. It does take a while. It's a pretty hefty administrative task, reposting all of my videos, descriptions, thumbnails, etc. In terms of upcoming content here on the channel, I had mentioned in my giveaway video last week that I'm working on this epic burger video. My hope, fingers crossed, is that that will be out this Friday. Then I was taking a look at my list of recipes, and I had to look down at the number, 85 recipes in my backlog, things that I plan on making and releasing videos on. So there will definitely continue to be plenty of cooking videos on here. There's plenty of material. The problem is just sometimes shooting the video, and that's what slows me down. Additionally, one of the things that I had long promised and finally want to get back to is part 4 of my epic tortilla review. I'd done the first 3 parts and reviewed, I don't know, 20 some different tortillas. I gave my opinions on the taste. I did the blood glucose testing. But now I want to take the top, I don't know, 6 or so and see how they behave like frying up. Can you make chips out of them? Can you make quesadillas out of them? What are some of the ways I might cook with them, and do they hold up? If I put them in a sauce, do they fall apart? So I'm going to start working on that again, probably within the next week or 2 for a November release. But I know a lot of people ask me about that. When am I going to be finished? Am I going to publish a spreadsheet listing all of the different ones, what I thought of the ingredients, what the blood glucose spike was, etc.? Yes, I will release that as a Google Doc at the same time I release that video. So expect to see that probably sometime in November. But that is going to be it for this podcast. I think maybe I'll throw up 1 or 2 of the Southern Recipe product review videos over here in case you're on the fence with porkrinds.com. You can check those out if you haven't already. As always, I thank you for spending a little bit of time with me today. Thanks for watching.